Bonjour à tous, hello everyone, and welcome to Apprenons Ensemble. In today's class, pronunciation, lesson 3, we are going to talk about the silent letters in French. So when should we pronounce the final consonants? Les lettres silencieuses en français. Quand prononcer les consonnes finales? So the first point will be about talking about the loan words, les mots d'emprunt. So usually, loan words have no silent letters, okay? So we need to pronounce even the final letter. So let's see some example. Un job, un stop, un parking, okay? So the letter J, K, B, V, and W never comes at the end of French words. Therefore, they are necessarily loan words, okay? So we need to pronounce the final consonant in such word. But we also do have some exceptions with the letter B. So see this word, appelons. Appelons, you see I'm not pronouncing the B. Appelons. Un plan. Un plan. So I'm also not pronouncing the B. So most of the time we need to pronounce the final consonant for loan words. But we do have some small exceptions. Some words where we should not even pronounce them. Okay. Second point. Words ending with N and M. Les mots se terminant par N et M. So, in such words, the N and M mostly will be preceded by a vowel. So, we are going to pronounce, but we are not pronouncing the N and M. We are going to pronounce something that we call a nasal sound. Okay, nasal sound. So, let's see some examples so it will help you. La maison, le parfum. So here we have O and N, and that O and will create the sound on. So it's a nasal sound, on. In the second one, un. So we are not like exactly pronouncing the N and the M, but it will create a nasal sound. Okay, so let's repeat again. La maison, le parfum. Okay, but we also do have some exceptions with N and M at the end of words. So let's see the example. L'aquarium. So here in this case, we are pronouncing the M separately and the U separately. One more time. L'aquarium. L'abdomen. L'aquarium. L'abdomen. So usually we need to pronounce N and M preceded by a vowel as nasal sound at the end of word. But we do have some exceptions. Third point, letters F, L, Q, and R at end of a word. Les lettres F, L, Q et R à la fin des mots. So usually we need to pronounce F, L, Q, and R at the end of words. So let's see some example. Positif, positif, la peur, l'animal, l'animal, 5. But when the letter F is preceded by letter R, then the letter F will be silent. We are going to pronounce the letter R, but the letter F will be silent. Also, when the letter R comes at the end, but preceded by the letter E, then not that we are not pronouncing the letter R, but it will create the sound E. Okay, let's see some example. Le cerf. Le cerf, you see in this case I'm pronouncing A but I'm not pronouncing F. Le cerf, un air, you see I'm pronouncing A but not F. Pompier, le pompier. So you see here, ER, it will create the sound A. So I'm pronouncing ER but not like pronouncing A exactly but sound A. Le pompier, manger, okay, but we do have some exceptions. Okay, so the exception is une clé. So here there is no R before, but in this case we should not pronounce the letter F. Une clé. Letters D, G, P, S, T, and Z at the end of words. Les lettres D, G, P, S, T et Z à la fin d'un mot. So usually when a word ends with D, G, P, S, T or Z, then it will be silent. So let's see some example. Le froid. So in this case, I'm not pronouncing D. Trop. Trois. Petit. Long. Okay, so apart from loan word, there are very few exceptions to this rule. So let's see the exception. Le sud. Le gaz. Huit. Un but. David. So the consonants C, S, and X. Les consonnes C, S, et X. So at the end of word, the French C is usually pronounced as K. Okay? Un sac. Le basilic. Donc. Le bec. But we should not pronounce the letter C when it is preceded by AN or ON. So ANC, then C is not pronounced. ONC, then C is not pronounced. Blanc. Un tronc. But we also do have some exception. And here, le tabac. You see here, it's not preceded by AN, but here I'm not pronouncing C. One more time, le tabac. So X is a silent letter in French. Okay? So when it is preceded by I or U, then we should not pronounce X. Le prix. Deux. Okay? Otherwise, in the other case, when it is not preceded by I or U, then we have to pronounce the letter X. Un lynx. L'index. But we do have some exceptions. Okay? Six. So here it's preceded by I, but I'm pronouncing X. Dix. The plural forms of nouns and adjectives are made by adding S or X. But in this case, the S or the X will not be pronounced. Des gâteaux. Les maisons. Gentil. Okay? So French articles also have a plural form. But in this case, not that we are pronouncing the S exactly at the end of the articles, but it will create a sound E. Les. Des. Okay? So usually S, X at the end of a plural noun are not pronounced, except when it comes as the plural of the articles. We are pronouncing the S, but not exactly the S, but E and S will create a sound called E. Okay? One more time. Les. Des. So we have seen so many things. So here is a table to help us make a summary. So loan words ending with a consonant, so we need to pronounce them. Okay? Consonant J, K, B, V, and W, we need to pronounce them, except aplomb, un plomb. Consonant N and M will create something that we call a nasal consonant, nasal sound. So we should not pronounce exactly N and M, but it will create a nasal sound. But we also do have some exceptions, where we need to pronounce the M and the N. L'aquarium. L'abdomen. So the consonant F, L, Q, and R usually are pronounced at the end of word, but For the F, when it is preceded by R, then we should not pronounce. So, le cerf. Okay? And for the letter R, when it is preceded by E, then it will create a sound A. So, le pompier. Here, I'm not pronouncing exactly R, but ER will create the sound A. Okay? But we do have some exceptions. So, une clé. So, the consonant D, G, P, S, T, and Z usually are not pronounced at the end of words. Okay? But we have some exceptions also. Le sud. Le gaz. Huit. Un but. David. The consonant C is usually pronounced at the end of word, but like K. Okay? So we need to pronounce the letter C, but as K at the end of word. But we do have some exception when it is preceded by AN or ON. Blanc. Un tronc. But we do have also some words where you should not pronounce the C, even when it's not even preceded by AN or ON. Le tabac. The consonant X is pronounced at the end. Okay, so mostly we need to pronounce the consonant X, except when it is preceded by I or U. So, le prix. Deux. We also do have some exceptions here. Six. Here it is preceded by I, but I'm pronouncing six. Dix. Okay? Consonant S and X in plural form of noun. So we should not pronounce the S and the X, except when it comes for as the plural of the articles. So there the S preceded by E will create a sound E. Okay? Le. You see how I'm pronouncing? Le. De. Okay, so what do you need to understand from this table is usually pronounce loan words. Pronounce the final consonant in loan words. Consonant ending with J, K, B, V, and W, you need to pronounce them. Most of the time, it will be correct except for some small exceptions. M and N at the end are not pronounced, but they create something that we call nasal sound. Okay? But we do have some small exceptions. So, here from the table, that what you need to understand is just follow up the table, and after sometimes, as soon as you will be thorough with the table, then you can try to learn the exceptions. But first, follow up the table, and I'm sure that it will help you. Okay? So, this is it for the today class. Merci beaucoup, and see you soon for another video. Au revoir.